My name is Dr. Andrea Pennington. I'm an integrative physician, acupuncturist, and brand strategist. My career in broadcast and digital media spans over 20 years. As past medical director for Discovery Health Channel, I've had multiple appearances on Oprah, Dr. Oz, and CNN, and my TED Talks have reached 2.5 million people. I've published 13 books in the last few years, and now I work anywhere there's Wi-Fi. For the last several years, I've been helping other doctors, dentists, healers, and coaches from around the world to share their messages with global audiences through personal branding, publishing, online courses, and media training. And what makes this combination unique is that I am bringing my 20 years of expertise as a professional speaker and coaching other people on their TED-style talks. So I know what it takes to craft a keynote, a TED Talk, and even workshop presentations so that you communicate your message with confidence and clarity. Welcome, dear friends. How are you doing on this beautiful Saturday? I pray that you are doing well. I don't usually go live on Saturday, but this is a very special time, obviously. We are just kicking off 6 days straight of live broadcasting for you to help you end the month of April on a high note, and that is by helping you craft your brand identity, maybe your first offers, maybe even a product or a course. If you don't know who I am Dr. Andrea Pennington. I am an integrative medical doctor and the managing director for Make Your Mark Global. And today I'm excited because this 6 days of deep dive live training is something that people in my community asked me for. And they've been asking a lot. You got to ask me a lot to get me out of my Saturday chill mode. But the reason that I'm doing these special live sessions, is really to just serve and help. I happen to be in a position where I've built up a personal brand, a media brand, and products and online followings and certain clients such that I'm not really in the same position as other people who were self-employed, or my doctor friends who were working just in, their little clinics and whatnot. And so many of them have called out and asked for favors and asked for help to figure this whole thing out. So that is why we are here. And I'm actually going to be here for 6 days straight, as I mentioned. And for these 6 days, what we're doing is, first and foremost, it's 6 days, personal branding. We're going to be talking about course creation. How do you launch a product? How do you craft your sales offers? All of this is meant to help you kickstart your creativity so that you can kick your mental blocks to the curb. Now, first up, we are going to be defining your personal brand. That is today's focus. We are going to define your personal brand identity and what we call your USP. We are on tomorrow, Sunday, we are going to be working on nailing your niche. That is, we are going to help you define your ideal customer and your target audience. Then on Monday, for deep dive number 3, we are going to outline your intellectual property. That is, taking the brilliance out of your brain and finding ways for you to be able to use it in the world. So yes, if you don't have a product, I see a comment already coming in. If you don't have a product, then definitely make sure that you are here for when we talk about your intellectual property. So today's going to help you because we're going to find out who you are and what your brilliance is. And then on Monday, our deep dive is all about how to create your first product. And that will be useful for anyone, whether you're new or you've been at this for a long time. And then deep dive number 4 is how to choose, test, and launch your first product. So there you go. If you don't have a product, definitely be here for these 6 days of live deep dive sessions. Our deep dive number 5, which is on Wednesday, sorry, is how to write a book. Did you know that you could write and publish a book in 90 days or less? That's right, you absolutely can, and I am going to show you my secret magic sauce. To date, I have already done 13 books, so join us. And then finally, on Thursday, April 30th, we will end out these deep dives with a special session on how to make offers, how to craft your irresistible offer so that you can start to enroll clients and sell your courses. And what I always say is you want to be able to have these sales conversations without feeling sleazy or slimy. I know that many of the people that I hang out with, they don't like sales. So we are going to make this useful for you. So thank you so much for tuning in. I see that there are comments coming in. I am so grateful to be here, and I'm seeing all of the gratitude that you're sharing with the comments. Thank you. That makes me feel good. It lets me know that what I'm doing is exactly what I should be doing. So welcome. Now, if you didn't notice, there is a worksheet for today. So depending on where you're watching, there is a worksheet. Let me see if I can share it in Facebook land, because every day you're going to have specific things that you need to do. So this is not just come and listen and think that maybe this is kind of interesting, blah, blah. No, this is an actual work session. And you may not have ever experienced this with me. I see that many of my lovely students and mentees from the Global Luminary Academy and from my personal branding bootcamp, you guys know I'm all about getting stuff done. So I'm sharing this worksheet link in case you haven't gotten the worksheet, because I really do want you to be active. Yep. So shall we dive on in? I want to share just a few little tidbits of what you can expect. So there is work to be done so that we can get you off of confusion or analysis paralysis. I know some of you are like, what should I do? Should I create a course? Should I do a membership? I mean, I'm this kind of a person. I've worked in that. Like, we're going to help you get such clarity in these 6 days. So first and foremost, you can go ahead and type on in where you're from. I see Central Illinois. I see the United Kingdom. Please be sure to share this. Share the link to this training. You can also register so that you get the reminders and the replays and the worksheets. Share this with somebody who you know is also struggling, who either can't tell you what they do or they are not very good at following up on their ideas. They come up with all these great ideas and then they just don't do it. So if you know somebody like that, then please share this with them. All right? Sound good? That way we can just share the love and nobody has to be alone at this time of pandemic and cocooning. So lovely. We've got some San Diego, New York. Awesome. And if you're on Kajabi, the link should be already in the chat. I will see if it's not there. Oh, you're going to have to scroll up to the top of the chat. Wonderful. So nice to see everyone chiming in. But you will see the link to the worksheet. We're hosting this in multiple places. All right, my friends, so let's get this party started. So I mentioned at the start, I am Dr. Andrea Pennington, and I have been providing business and brand strategy consulting to major global brands. I've also been teaching branding and marketing, including at the International University of Monaco. So this is a field that I am totally passionate about, and branding and conscious communications is an area that I've become one of the go-to experts, especially if you want to build an authentic personal brand. My niche is the heart-centered, soul-conscious entrepreneurs, healers, doctors, and empathic lightworkers. But don't worry, even if you're not in the health or fitness space, these 6 deep dive trainings are going to be very helpful for you. So I mentioned that I actually started my branding work 20 years ago. First, I was in online branding and then in global media as the medical director and spokesperson for Discovery Health Channel, which has now become the Oprah Winfrey Channel. And building, coaching, and healing businesses by leveraging the power of the media is actually my specialty. I said my area of focus is really people who are heart-centered. I worked in Hollywood. I worked with all those egos. That's not my place. I want to be with the people who are really dedicated to ending suffering on this planet. And so I focus on people who want to share their message with the world. But don't worry, even if you're not ready to go global, if you're just starting local, that's fine. I've got you covered in this training. Because in this series, what you're going to come to see is that it is possible for you to build a highly profitable coaching or healing business or an online business without becoming salesy or pushy or a sleazy person. And I'm going to show you exactly how I've done it and how I lead my clients to increase their income and their impact without losing your integrity. See, I want you to know a little bit about where I'm coming from just as a base. I really believe that you have the power to transform health, wealth, and happiness by embracing your unique talents, your abilities, and the gift of your presence, just by being who you are naturally. No copycats, okay? Because being your authentic self, when you are authentic, you will be naturally magnetic, and it can be hugely profitable. And most importantly, it's the most sustainable model for your success and your happiness in life. So I really believe that each of us, that means you, my friend, you have an important role to play in the awakening that's happening across the world. In your own way, you can have an impact locally and globally. And the best way that you can do that is to become a recognizable expert and a credible authority in your field. And I really believe you must do this in a way that's in alignment with your values, your personality, and your natural talents so that it's sustainable. Now, I know that many of you who are tuning in, you've already told me that you've been to all of these other coaching programs and you've heard all the marketing gurus, but it doesn't matter what you've heard or seen before. We're going to try to wipe the slate clean, so be here with an open mind. So if you would, close down any distractions, put your phone on silent, and really let's be present. Because what the other kind of marketing gurus out there don't tell you is that it's crucial to use proven brand strategies and the marketing techniques, but to use them at the right time and in the right sequence so that you can have really good results. And if you've tried some of this before and it didn't work, please, my friend, do not be hard on yourself. I know that it can be really confusing and frustrating and even intimidating, especially if you are heart-centered and you're a soul-inspired entrepreneur. Many of the light workers in my community have all expressed in one way or another that building a spiritually based business was one of the most nerve-wracking and anxiety-provoking thing than any of the other healing work that they do. And they've told me, it feels icky when it comes time to ask for money. It feels scary to try out these new ways of increasing your visibility, like posting videos online or on social media. And some people even feel like it kind of goes against what your heart and soul are all about, that heartfelt connection that you want and that love-inspired service. And believe me, I get it. When you cross over from thinking of your business as just a career or a way to pay your bills, and then you start to focus on giving your time and your talents in service to help other people, well, then building a business that brings in profit, it takes on this whole new way of thinking. Your work is more like a service to humanity or the planet or the animals. It's really a gift of your soul. So, of course, when it comes to finding ways to get more clients or to make more money and spread your message, it can bring up a lot of mixed or conflicting emotions. And so I know that that can be a challenge, but I also know that if you don't do what your heart is telling you to, that can make you feel defeated and depressed. Does anybody else know what that's like, where you've had these ideas, these things pulling at you, and you came up with excuses or fear, or you saw someone else and you were like, I don't want to compete? Anyone? Suddenly the chat is silent. Well, I personally work with a lot of emerging luminaries, and these are the heart-centered coaches and healers who really want to shine brightly as, a globally recognized expert or author or speaker. And so what I teach is a 5-stage ascension model. And I'm going to share that with you in this series because I really believe that when you learn how to do things in the right order and the right sequence, you don't have to get overwhelmed. Like the idea of starting a whole new business, yeah, that can be overwhelming. But I'm going to give you the same business guidance that I would use myself and I use with my clients to help you change more lives, sell more products, and feel more at ease. And if you're mainly interested in just building a local service-based business, then you might just concentrate on the tactics that will help you market yourself. But don't worry, I'm going to help you do that without becoming, full of hype or, pushy and aggressive. All right, so that's a little bit about what you can expect from the series. Now, what makes this approach different? Well, up until this point, most of us have had to rely on traditional marketing and sales strategies. And most of us have learned from all the slick internet marketers and online sales programs that they feel a little manipulative, right? But now there are so many more heart-centered marketing experts who are sharing the proven strategies that help you build a profitable business. Well, all of us can benefit. And that is why I am here. And that's what we're going to do together. So where do you begin? All right, well, what to do now depends on which stage of business you're in, and basically also the goals that you have for the future. If you've spent any time online doing research on how to grow your coaching business or how to establish a healing practice, then you've probably seen the ads, right? You've seen ads for all kinds of courses on how to build an email list, how to set up online summits, how to run campaigns to ask people what they want before you build it for them, how to start a podcast, right? What else have you guys seen? What other courses have been tempting you? You've probably heard people telling you that you need a sales funnel, you need an online course or a membership site, or you've got to be posting on social media constantly. So I recognize that you've probably spent some time learning some of these tactics and getting on these different platforms. And if you're like me, you've probably spent a small fortune on courses and coaches, trying to master those techniques. But if you were one of the people who gave up, or maybe you tried to hire someone to do it for you, and that ended up costing you more than it made you, I've been there too. I mean, tell the truth. How much money have you invested or spent or lost trying to get clients? Trying to figure out how to attract people. Have you wasted your precious time trying this technique and that technique without getting any sort of return on your time or your money or your energy? And a lot of people are suggesting you speak at free events and you try to market yourself to influencers, but that leaves a lot of people feeling frustrated. So I know how that goes because about 90% of my clients, when they come to me, they have said these exact words to me. And I know what it's like to feel a bit lost and alone. And so most people just go back to the old way of doing business. They end up charging for their time, trading dollars for hours, and they're never quite getting ahead or being able to scale up the volume that they know is possible for them or they see other people doing. So I remember one of my clients was telling me that she just felt sick to her stomach because she knew that she had this great ability to help people transform their thinking and transform their lives. And she told me that she felt like this was really her true calling in life, to help people who had been through abuse and the addiction, which she had already gotten free from. And she had followed all of the expert advice, but all she ended up with was debt. So here's the truth. She attempted to do a lot of the great tactics, but they were done out of sequence. And there was also no follow through. Anybody else been guilty of kind of falling short on following through? So here's the real deal. Not everyone needs to run ads. Not everyone needs to aim for TV exposure. It all depends on your overall goals and how big you want to grow your business. In my opinion, all of this should be done in alignment with your mission and your purpose in life, which is beyond just making money. Because of course, you really want to attract more clients, but you want to make sure that they are soul aligned. And yes, you want more money, but that's so that you can spend time with the clients that you enjoy, so you don't feel rushed, so that you can support your family, and then even expand your business so you can hire people to help you with the tasks that you don't enjoy doing, which will free you up to do the things that only you can do, the things that you're really good at. And ultimately, I know that you really want to have a greater impact in the world. Am I right? Like, I know you do. So I know it's a bit of a panic right now with, this cocooning that we have in place. But if I were to show you how you could follow a proven framework for building a spiritually aligned business, all while being 100% in alignment with your unique self, sharing your passion for what you do, and naturally attracting and connecting with soul-aligned clients who are happy, who are enthusiastic to pay for the value that you're providing, all while you grow and expand and step up to the next level. If I could give you a framework for that, how would that make you feel? Would that make you feel good? I see some yeses coming in. Yes, awesome. All right, well, I can guarantee you, a doctor giving a guarantee, yes. I can guarantee you that if you follow these 5 stages of ascension and really take on this mission to become a personal brand, or even go global, become a global luminary, this will point the way and provide you with the guidance you need. Because to be awesome, I just saw 311 RBB's comment, awesome. To be honest, just a few years ago, I was in the same position. I was ready to make the transition from being what I call a doc in the box. I was providing medical commentary on TV, just about general health, and I was really transitioning into the work of my soul, and that is helping people wake up to who they really are, showing people how to heal and thrive through meditation, positive psychology, and spiritual alignment, all along with self-love and trauma healing practices. So if you've seen my TED Talks, you know that that's like my thing. Those are the things that provide me with the energy to do the work that I'm doing on a global scale. But back at the time when I was still living in America, I just felt limited, and the things that I was doing on TV at the time didn't fit me. Now, a few years ago, after I had been living here where I am today, living on the south of France, I started providing personal brand consulting and teaching at the University of Monaco. And that's when I started to feel this pull. We call it the call, which I'll show you on a slide in a minute. But I was starting to feel this pull, this internal urge to step up and to speak out about the things that I had learned over the last several years, about healing, about self-expression, about resilience. And it was like my soul was like calling out, telling me to share the success that I had had with my clients and myself, and bring it so that other people could experience on a larger scale what we were experiencing. And I was being urged to share that with a wider audience. Now, I could tell that it wasn't coming from my ego. It was actually coming from my heart. I felt this like compassionate drive to help other people get out of the suffering that I was in. And so a few years ago, I realized I needed to rebrand myself. I needed to come out in a big way so that people would know who I am and what I'm all about today, not the way that they saw me on TV so many years ago. And so I dug into my experience in corporate branding and media storytelling, and I started to revisit the process that I've taken brands through. And this 5-stage ascension model is the exact process that I used. It's how I became known for resilience, self-love, and holistic healing through publishing books, giving keynote speeches and TED Talks, speaking on stages around the world to an audience of people who are like me, people who are really tuning in and awakening to love and compassion. So I went through these 5 stages while I was building my new companies, just like I did when I built my first multi-million-dollar business back in America while I was working for the Discovery Channel. And so it's this framework that is helping my clients and my mentees all around the world to do the same thing. So are you curious? Would you like to see what this framework is? Yes? I thank you for all of these lovely comments so far. All right, well, if you are just tuning in, hey there, I'm Dr. Andrea Pennington. Welcome to our 6 days of live deep dive training. We are going live every day to help you build a business. And today's session is all about defining your personal brand and what I call your USP, your unique selling proposition. Dun, dun, dun. All right, so enough with the businessy jargon. All right, guys, so shall we get started then? I'm going to share some slides with you and show you this 5-stage framework. All right, and then you'll be able to apply it in your own life. Now, the first thing you'll see is that there's this call to vision, and then it's the position stage. After the position stage, we move into what I call present. The presentation stage is where you're presenting yourself to the world. The fourth is promote, which is getting on TV or hiring someone to promote you or working with JV influencers. And the final stage is the expansion stage. So where we are today is position. I'm going to assume that you've already felt that calling, and that's why you're here. You've felt this urge, this rumbling, this desire to step up, either to expand your business or to start a new business. So after you've said yes to the call, the next stage, where we are today, is the position stage. This is where you build your brand identity, and then you build your platform. Does that make sense to everyone? Give me a yes in the chat if I'm still making sense. All right, so what is the position stage all about then? Building your expert platform starts off with your brand identity. It also includes a style book, something I call a brand encyclopedia, your niche or an avatar profile, which is what we're covering tomorrow, your core content, which could be a blog or a vlog, your website, your logo, and yes, a photo, and then lead magnets, or ways that you can start to get people onto your email list. Now, this 5-stage framework that I mentioned is really going to help you simplify your life. And so if you're registered for this deep dive, you will get all of the slides in the email with the replay. So if that's of interest to you, then please give it to me. All right, so what is a brand? Are you a brand? Tell me in the chat, what do you think a brand is? I'm curious. What is a brand? I'm sitting here telling you that you need to become a personal brand. What does that even mean to you? Anyone? Does anyone want to type in the chat? When you hear the word brand, what does it mean? I know there's a little bit of a lag time. I will tell you this. You already have a brand. You do. So what do you think a brand is? If you look at the worksheet, I've asked you to write into question number 1, which is, what is a brand? All right, let's see here. So our first comment is, brand is something that you are selling yourself as. Yes, that's great. It's something that you're selling yourself or presenting yourself as. Shelley says your commercial identity. Yes, it could be if we're talking about a business brand, absolutely. All right. Isabella says it is an expression of core values, mission, and purpose. Ding, you're such a star. Absolutely, yes. Shireen says brand is the image or the representation of your company values. Absolutely, that is absolutely correct. Becoming a brand, Margareta says, is about recognition. Absolutely. Miriam says, who you are and the unique talent that you have to contribute in uplifting the world. I love it. You guys are like so aligned with me and my lingo. That is absolutely correct. That is exactly how we in the media business define a brand. All right, so let's take a look at these slides then. So what is a brand? A brand is the image that people have of you or your company. It could be a company, but it's also you as a person if you are a healer or a therapist or a coach. It's also who and what people think you are. It's what you represent to them in their mind. So it's a mental thing, right? Your brand is also your promise. It is your promise. It's what people can come to expect. It's what they will experience. Your brand can even represent the emotions that people will have as a result of interacting with you. And yes, Anna, it is a way to be known. Kaya says it's your persona. Absolutely. All right, so this is what a brand is. Now, the next thing on your worksheet, scroll through the chat if you haven't downloaded the worksheet yet. The next thing is to think about some recognizable brands. Now, type in the chat what you think of when you see this face. And for those of you that aren't looking at the screen, it's Oprah Winfrey. What do you think of when you see Oprah? I see a heart in the chat. That's sweet. You think Oprah's about love? What else? Come on, guys. This is interactive. I'm here for you on a Saturday. What do you think of when you see Oprah Winfrey? Rainmaker. Absolutely. She is a rainmaker. She makes the money rain. Love. Absolutely. And what do you think of when you see this face? Robert Downey Jr. What does he represent to you in your mind? Yes, he's an actor, but he also has a certain vibe to him. What do you think of when you see his face? Type into the chat, guys. I'd love to see. Openness. Do you see that openness from Robert, or is that from Oprah? Accomplished lioness. That must be about Oprah. Yeah. So I had this, humanity, philanthropy, courage, a powerful woman. And you know, Robert Downey Jr. has overcome some challenges himself. And when I had the chance to meet him and talk to him, this was before Iron Man, I was just so fascinated by his story. And I'm so grateful that overcoming addiction has not been the only thing that he's known for. Like, he's really known for rising up and having this global expression. And what do you think of when you see Nelson Mandela? Like, what does he represent to you? So I see some comments: emotional intelligence, renewal, steel. So these are people, and yes, they've had companies. Some of them have led, activism movements and winning Nobel Prizes, right? But they are recognizable brands. Just by seeing their face or hearing their name can evoke an emotional response. It gives you an experience or an expectation of what you would get if you were working with that brand. So here's some other brands I want you to consider. And since we're typing not really fast in real time, type the person's name and the quality that you pick up on. So Beyonce, Malala, Steve Jobs. Yes, Nelson Mandela was groundbreaking. Absolutely. Stepping up for humanity. Absolutely. So when you see these faces and these names, these are recognizable brands. And that is what I'm saying can be possible for you. Now, it's not going to be an overnight success, of course, but it is possible. All right. Spirituality in action, not giving up, revolutionary. Awesome. Excellent. All right. So there are really 5 keys to successful brands. If you ask, like, how did these people become so well known, such that just their name or their face evokes a response for you? Well, they became successful brands by having each of them having one of these 5 key elements. So these 5 elements of successful brands are what we're going to help you develop. One is a well-defined niche or a target audience. The next is a clear value proposition, and that's just what you give in exchange for a person's time, money, or attention. The other one is a compelling brand slogan or certain taglines. There's certain lines and quotes that you can associate with people. Of course, an engaging photo. None of those people were hiding behind their products. And a cohesive graphic style. Now, that may not be true so much with entertainers, they're always changing up. But when you want to become a personal brand, you want to establish a consistent style so that people can recognize you and really get tuned in to who you are and what you stand for. And so today, our focus on this deep dive training, number 1, is on helping you develop your brand identity and your USP. That is, by the end of this session, your mission is to be able to clearly describe who you are, what you stand for, what makes you unique, what results you provide or could provide, and what you have to offer. So in other words, today we're really focused on laying the foundation for your new personal brand. And so why do we even want to do this? Like, have you ever really thought about that? Probably not so much, like the big why of it all. Why do you even want to become a personal brand? Anyone? Why would you want to? Well, I'm going to give you my answer while I wait for you to type in the chat. You want to become a personal brand so that you are finally understood, so that people see who you really are. You want to become a clear, focused personal brand so that you can connect with your target audience. That is, the people that you are uniquely meant to serve. And you really want to be able to invite people into a conversation or to work with you. And the only way that you can do that is having clarity about you and your brand and what you stand for. Does that make sense? So it may sound kind of obvious or basic, but you really do need to have in mind, like, why am I doing this? You're going to overcome some fears and some doubts, and you have to be tuned into the why of connection and being understood. That is so, it's so vital. I mean, I'm doing what I'm doing, not just because I have the background. It's because it's really tuned into my mission. And so today our focus is going to be pulling out some of the brilliance and some of your essential elements out of you so that you can clearly and confidently tell the world what you do, who you are, what you stand for, and the results that they can get from you. Now, I love that you're typing in, you've got to be yourself. It's like that quote from my first TED Talk, be an original because be yourself because an original is always worth more than a copy, right? Everybody else is taken. All right, so I don't know if you've ever had this sort of thing happen, but do you know how awkward and uncomfortable it is when somebody sees you at an event and they ask, so what do you do? And you kind of struggle to find the right words, or you just don't even know where to start because you have so many things. It's like, how do I fully explain my very specialized, unique, and often extensive healing or coaching practice? Has that ever happened to you? Or then you just end up kind of just saying something really basic and the person kind of nods, then the conversation is over. Or maybe you say specifically what you do using real technical terms, and then there's this look of confusion on their face and they simply say, oh, and the conversation is over, right? It's frustrating, right? And it can actually be anxiety provoking to try to explain what you do without like turning people off, right? And so if you don't know how to explain it and give clear examples of the results that you provide, then you're always going to struggle in business. You know, I get people who will say something like, you know, if I were to ask you right now, who are you? I'm curious. What would you say? You know, who are you, or what do you do? When I ask that question, a lot of people say, oh, I'm a coach, or oh, I do Reiki. And having worked with a lot of healers and psychics and coaches of all kinds, and with me being a multi-passionate entrepreneur myself, I know that you bring a wealth of wisdom. You've got insight and intuition. And so you do more than just providing some technical service. And there really is no one-size-fits-all title to describe what you do. So it would be actually a really big mistake if you just called yourself a coach or a healer or an XYZ specialist. It's too vague, and it leaves the interpretation up to the person that's listening. And I know that you are so much more valuable than the average person with the average title. So I'm going to help you today. As you've seen in the worksheet, we're using my MVP-S-cubed system, the MVPs. And this is going to help you write your job description. If you're someone who needs to dust off your resume or your CV so that you can get a job, this is going to help you write in a way that captivates and clearly communicates what you do, who you serve, and what sets you apart from other people. You can even use this in creating your LinkedIn profile, right? So wouldn't it be cool if you could like just share your work from the heart, including your vision of what's possible in the world when people like align with you or work with you? And wouldn't it be awesome to have your method of delivering results, something that's just really easy to explain without feeling like you're being a show off, and helping your ideal clients see you as the trusted expert? Because that's what we need. We need people to see you as a credible guide, a coach, or healer. And it's natural if you show up and share as your authentic self. And it's the easiest way to get more clients. All right? So first things first, I would like you to answer this question. What makes you unique? All right, I'm going to tune into some of the chat here. So I've asked you what you are and what makes you unique. I like this one. Shireen says, I am a universal light agent. All right, I like that. I want to help women understand how important it is to understand the impact of birth on our lives and how to prepare in a way that feels good for them instead of how the system prepares them. And I know that Margareta is a hypnobirthing doula, so awesome. Exactly. And Miriam says, I'm a principle-centered person doing my best. Yes. All right. So it's totally fine if you don't know what you're going to do or what product you're going to come up with. No drama. We're going to help you get there, especially if you stick with us through all of these trainings. All right. So the reason that I want you to start thinking about what makes you unique is because before you set up a website, before you order business cards, we really want you to be able to confidently and clearly answer the question, what do you do? Without freezing like a deer in the headlights. Because even if you'd like to hand over this job to someone else to write the copy or design it or something else, even if you'd rather hire someone to do all of your marketing or run ads to bring you clients, they will still need to be able to tell people who you are, what you do, and what makes you different. And all of that needs to be defined by you. Otherwise, you risk having what they write or the website colors and fonts and images that they choose. You have the risk of that being out of alignment with your vibe and your essence. And that's one of the biggest blocks I see in this stage. It's when people who I work with, like the coaches and healers, they have so much expertise, so many skills in their toolbox that they feel overwhelmed when they try to distill all of it into one nice elevator pitch, right? All right, so I am going to share with you my slides so we can get into the next part of the worksheet. All right, so we said we're going to figure out who you are and what you stand for. So if you were able to describe what makes you unique, Sorry guys, I forgot this slide. Why you become a personal brand: to get noticed, to leave your mark, make an impression, and to get paid. And Anna says she wants to help people on their journey of self-love. Awesome. Sweet. Okay, so let's get into it, guys. Your unique selling point. Now, I know this is a big jargony term from the world of business, but I'm going to break it down for you in a way that makes it more practical, because you do have a USP, even though you're a human, and that is your unique gifts and talents, your character strengths, and your philosophy or personality. So in your worksheet where I've asked what makes you unique, you can think about it from that standpoint. What are the unique attributes that you have that are unique to you? And I know it may seem like everybody has the same stuff, but I promise you it's not that way, okay? Not everybody has it. So typing into the chat, I see feeling that multi-talented, overwhelmed thing. Well, don't worry. Do this worksheet and it's going to make things very clear for you. So writing down, what are some of your unique gifts and talents? Anybody want to type into the chat? What are some of your unique talents? Even if somebody else has them, what are your talents? What are some of your character strengths? Some of you are deeply compassionate. You're honest. You're empathetic. You might be an empath. You really feel deeply for others. Maybe you're really into service. That is a strength, and you can write that down. Maybe it's about your philosophy or your personality. All right, so to make this easier for you, what I want you to do is, if you'll see on the worksheet, the next thing that we're covering is something called your MVPs cubed. So in trying to answer this question about what makes you unique, the MVPs are going to help you. All right? So on the worksheet, you'll see M. I want you to write down what the M stands for. Okay? These are the MVPs cubed. All right, so M stands for message, mission, and methodology. So ask and answer this question. What is one thing that you would like to change in this world? That could be a mission. We've heard from Margareta. She's on a mission to change the way people think about childbirth. My mission is to activate thousands of healers, coaches, and light workers so that you can powerfully and confidently share your message with the world. So think about it. If you were a soul on a mission, what would that mission be? Now, when it comes to message, you may have several, but for this exercise, what is one thing that you wish everybody knew? It might be this message that you want to share about how energy works, how the body works, about prosperity, whatever you're kind of focused on. Shelley says, I want to end the needless suffering in the world. Awesome. Yes. Miriam says to come back to the servant. So that rewriting the programming in the subconscious mind and to become the leader that we all are at conception. Love it. So when you think about the message, what is one key message? If you could, get a TV commercial or put up a billboard, what is that message that you would want to send out to the world? My personal message is you can become a highly paid spiritual entrepreneur without compromising your values or integrity. I have many messages, but that's just one of them. Now, when it comes to methodology, what is one special method that you use or you could use to get results? What is one method? So it's the how. What is your methodology? So all of these are going to be used to come up with your personal brand statement. And so for me, in terms of methodology, you're seeing some slides that come out of my personal branding bootcamp. So I have this authentic personal branding bootcamp, which is an approach that follows these 5 stages of ascension, helping people leverage the media through public speaking and increasing their visibility. That's my methodology. I help people create the brand and launch it into the global atmosphere. All right. Living healthy and green can be affordable and doable for everyone. I love that, Alex. That is so spot on. And Monica says, to have people live in their truth confidently. Yes. I'm loving this. And from LSA, we all need to work on healing ourselves and the world, one person at a time. You can do it. Awesome. So I love that you're all typing into the chat. So these are the M's. So write on your worksheet or wherever you're writing, the first M is mission, the next is message, and then it's methodology. Even if you're just writing one little word, get it out of you so that we can start to massage it later in this exercise. All right, the V, yes, 311 RBB, methodology could be your coaching. And I'm going to help you when you come on Monday, creating your own signature program. So yes, you might be doing coaching, but I would like for you to have your own signature style of coaching so that you stand out more. But yes, coaching could be your methodology. All right. Now the V in the MVPS cubed is values, vibe, and voice. So what is the underlying value in you that motivates you to do this work? For me, it's all about freedom, authenticity, and integrity. And of course, compassion. So what are the values that drive you, that are, really stirring you up and motivating you? Shireen is talking about creating safe and trusted spaces to reclaim the compassion and wisdom in the menstrual cycle and menopause. Well, that is a big mission, and there are millions, I guess billions of women around the world that could use that. Awesome. So the value, what are the values inside of you that are driving you? The next one is vibe. What sort of vibe do you emit? A vibe is like an energy, a frequency. What is the kind of energy that people would pick up on if they were working with you? Are you laid back? Are you kind of studious? Are you strict? What's your vibe like? Are you the eco-conscious, green, I won't say tree hugger because people make that sound negative now. But what is your vibe? Because when you determine what your vibe is, if you were to hire someone to do ads or create a website, you'd want them to be able to transmit that essence of you. And the vibe is how you're going to translate and create resonance in your audience. So Monica says fearless, authentic, compassionate. I love it. Environmental and personal sustainability. Yes. Joyful, inspirational. Awesome. And someone who pursues the truth. Awesome. So Siv is asking, do I mean personal values or the values that you give? We're talking about your values. The values, if you have a company, you could talk about company values, but your MVPS cubed is what makes you unique. So it's what do you value? And then the third V is voice. What is the kind of tone of voice? Not just your spoken tone, but what kind of energy comes through, like with the language that you use? Is it super authoritative? Is it lofty and dreamy? Or is it practical and sciencey? My voice these days tends to be inspirational, lighthearted. I'm also kind of goofy. So think about the V's for you and write them down. Passionate, positive, and loving. Awesome, Rossi. Passionate, truth seeker, and positive, says Alex. Margareta says passionate, educational, warm, and loving. Awesome. Equality. So good. So now you've got a sense of the V's. So writing those down is really important. You're going to use these later. There's a method to this. There's a methodology. Self-awareness. All right, so great. The next one is the P. P stands for purpose or passion, your philosophy, and your personality. All right? So what do you consider your life purpose to be? If you were, heaven forbid, if you were to pass away today and you were to meet your maker, would you be able to say, hey, I fulfilled my purpose down there? What do you think your purpose is? Even if you don't know it for sure, what do you think it is? I know that my purpose at this stage of my life is to eliminate suffering in this world. That's my purpose. And what about your philosophy? Is there a certain way that you look at problems or what's possible for us? Your philosophy is kind of like how you operate. It's like your operating system. Yes, awesome. I'm seeing so much coming in. So good. So please keep writing these down for yourselves as well. I don't want you to lose this good work that you're doing. What are you super passionate about? For me, I am super passionate about personal branding, documentary films, and I love seeing people light up as they tune into and start expressing their authentic self. I'm passionate about that. And how would you describe your personality? So are you silly, down to earth, kind of like yours truly? Are you motivational? How would you describe? Alex, I love your philosophy. If you know better, you do better, right? That's what the beautiful Maya Angelou said. And Joanna says, it's my life purpose to teach, mentor, and inspire animals. It's going past my screen. Awesome. So you guys are really, really getting super clear. I love this. All right, the S. The S stands for strength, style, and specialties. So tell me, what is one, just start off with one. What is the number one strength that you use? You can even consider it your superpower. What is one strength that helps you do what you do? One strength. Are you intuitive? Are you super creative? For me, I'm a visionary. So I can really see things. I can see energy. I can see potential. And that is one of my strengths that really helps me in my business. I'm also multi-passionate. So when I get these entrepreneurs that are like, oh my God, I can't choose, I totally get that. And that allows me to work with them to hone in on each of the areas that they can work on and make it through there. So Isabella is grounded. Margareta is empowering. Awesome. Intuition. Excellent. Emotional intelligence. This is awesome. You guys are great. Look at all this positivity up in here. All right. So what is your specialty? It could be a phrase. It could be a modality. You know, maybe you have a particular technique that you've learned. One of my specialties that you're learning here today is helping light workers clarify their brand message. I also have this specialty of activating them to share it with a global audience. The general category might be personal branding, but if I were just to say to you, hey, I'm a personal brand expert, that doesn't give you the sense of who I am, right? So strong practical skills and sense of duty, very loyal. These are some great qualities, Fernando. Crystal says she's intuitive and driven. Awesome. Alex, strength, vision, strategy. That's a good one. That's a great strength to have. And one of the other S's could also be success, but it's going to come up in next exercise, so I'll save that there. All right. So now that you have that list, when people ask you what you do, you can start to sprinkle in some of these words, helping people get unstuck through the art of surrendering. Now that's a really nice, clear way to state that. And I love the way that you've put it, Shelley, because it's intriguing enough that makes me lean in and say, how do you do that? What does that mean? As opposed to when people just say, oh, you know, I'm a coach, because it makes them shut down, right? Is this helping you all so far to like kind of feel this energy coming up within? All right, so now that you are starting to get all of the MVPs, keep that list because we are going to use it in 2 more steps. All right, now we're going to talk about your value proposition. So a USP is a very business term. So most personal brands would be like, I don't have a USP. I don't have a value proposition, but you do. And so can I go over style again? So yes, can you tell us your name, 311, or should I just call you 311? Style is, or maybe I didn't share style, did I? No, because I have a different note, and Anna's asking for it as well. Okay, so style, it's because I'm using 2 different systems. So style is more about how you actually show up and how you deliver. So some people have a coaching style that is very much about, you know, milestones and note-taking and holding people accountable with dates and that sort of thing. Whereas my style, I have all that accountability stuff, but I'm more about inspirational and pulling things out of people, getting to the heart of their subconscious blocks and getting into the soul. So your style is what sets you apart. So if we had 2 people who specialize in myofascial release, so we've got 2 physical therapy people here, how are you going to choose person A or person B? How would you choose? Well, if you were really trying to connect with someone who's going to take care of your body and get you out of pain, you'd want to kind of know, are you the kind of person who's just going to get in there and, you know, move me around and tell me to do this, do that, do this? Or is your style more open and empathetic? So style, thank you, Raj, now I know your name. So style is about exactly how it shows up in the world. And that, if somebody came to me, for example, I remember, I'm not picking on Italy, but I lived in Italy when I was working on this book, The Real Self-Love Handbook. And I had this pain in my jaw, and I was like, oh no, I do not want to have to like get something filled, but it started getting worse and worse. And I didn't know anyone in San Remo, so I just sort of looked online, found a dentist, called them up with my very basic Italian, and I went in. And the dentist was not, his style was kind of like, yeah, come on, sit down. And I was just kind of like, I'm in pain. And I probably should have walked out, like my intuition was telling me, but I was like miserable, and I'd gotten the appointment. And he got in, and he took the x-rays, and he's like tapping on my tooth, and it was so painful. I felt like I literally felt this tear run down my face. And I was in so much pain, and he was like, this is the one that's bad. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? I know. Well, he gave me a prescription for antibiotics. He said, you know, we've got to give you antibiotics, and then you need to come back, and we'll either take the tooth out or do a root canal. And I was like, okay. So I got the prescription, went to the pharmacy, got my prescription filled, took the antibiotics, which of course decreased everything. And I was like, oh, heck no, I'm not going back to him. I'll go find another dentist. So bedside manner, as we call it with the doctors, that's about style. Okay? So is all this making sense? I'm now going to catch up on some of these comments. So my dear friends, if you are just joining us, I'm Dr. Andrea Pennington. You are tuned in to 6 days of live deep dive trainings. And today we are specifically talking about how to define your personal brand identity. And where we are right now is we're figuring out what makes you unique. So I'm going to check in with the chat and some of the qualities that people have been listing are awesome. So helping others, Crystal specializes in taming chaos. You are right on it. Joanna has specialties of veterinary medicine, neurology, Reiki, and energy healing. Sweet. Shireen, courageous taboo transformer. I love that. Who loves the goofy in life. So are you guys getting a sense of the vibe there with Shireen? So even though she's working in stuff that's very serious, at least we get this sense of what your energy is like. And from LSA says tenacity, being true and real, all about personal growth. Yes. So Alex, you have no style, no specialty? You have a style. We were already picking up on your vibe. Go for your vibe. If you're thinking about style, it's closely related to the vibe or the energy that you would put off into the world. Margareta says, my style is grounded, informative, non-judgmental, and direct. And do you see why these are important things? Because you probably take these for granted. You're so used to just being you, you don't think about what makes you different than other people. But if someone was asking, oh, I need to find someone who can help me deliver this baby, like Margareta's a doula, or I'm looking for that dentist, or I'm looking for a coach who can help me get past the overwhelm. Well, hearing these little qualities about you, that's what gives me the insight, like, ooh, I know who to connect you with, right? So the more that you're clear about your vibe and your style and what makes you unique, the more other people will be able to tune into it, and they can either self-identify like, ooh, I like your vibe. This is somebody I want to work with. You know, if we were trying to choose between A and B, I'm going to go with the person whose vibe really gives me what's important to me. And so if you're just plain old boring and just try to be neutral, like I don't want to offend anyone, it's not going to give you the same kind of success. What do you mean I make your style seem boring? I actually like that. The taming chaos, that is so cool. Like that sets me in my mind, like I know people who have chaos in their head or in their workspace. So I would instantly know, oh, I know who to send you. Crystal, she is an expert at taming chaos. That's who I'm going to send you to. I don't think that's boring at all. And yes, Joanna, your style is scientific, but at the same time spiritual and emotional. And Tammy, hand-holding. That's great. So you get a sense that you're really with people in for this journey. Style, energy, and vibe are very interconnected and almost the same thing. Yes, it's true. So my system does have a lot of overlap, but that's designed especially to kind of bring things out of you. Because I've worked with people for so long who say, I don't know what makes me different. So the more that we can get them out of you, the better it is. Okay, so we are going to move on. I'm seeing there's a lot of other comments, but I think this is good. So, and yes, Raj, this is helpful. He says, we just take all of this for granted. Yes, and it is important to define some of these quote unquote soft aspects, because if we don't, then you never really think of it being valuable. But sometimes that's exactly what would motivate somebody to choose you over someone else. All right? Wonderful. And then Alex has found her style. It's all about accountability and forward momentum. Yes, and driven. Excellent. That gives you an instant sense of, are you the kind of, business mentor that's just going to be like, yeah, okay, do your stuff. I'm here if you need me. No, you're going to be like accountable and do you see that energy shift just by describing that? Okay, so we're going to get back into the slides because I don't want to be here all night. I mean, I'm having fun with you, but it's here 6 o'clock here in the south of France. So we are going to move into how you come up with your value proposition. So a lot of what you've already shared is excellent, really, really good. Let me see. And now we will go back to our slides. You'll see this in the workbook as well. So we're going to use this RSVP method to help you come up with your value proposition. So the R stands for results, S is for success, V is for value, and P is your proposition, which might sound a little dicey, but it's basically your promise. Okay, so when we think about, oh, and we've got Oregon in the house. Okay, now let's think about your results. I want you to make a list of the tangible or visible or meaningful results that people can get from you. Now, if you're just starting out in business and you haven't done anything yet, think about the people you've helped. Like maybe you're still in university, or you just graduated and you know that you're actually a really good study partner. Well, what is it? What is that result? Well, you help people organize their notes, or you help people not feel alone in the studying process. What are the results that you could get? And so other examples are healing chronic back pain. Maybe that's a result that you provide. Or maybe you're able to help people lose 5 kilos of fat in 1 month. Maybe you can help people save money. Maybe it's about improving certain abilities. The best way for you to think about the results that you help people with is to think of a before and an after. Right? So the before and after means when someone came to you, if you're in business, or just you encountered someone and they were in a state, either they were stuck in limiting beliefs, says Miriam. So I encounter a lot of people who have these limiting beliefs that say, oh, I'm not good enough to be on camera. Who do I think I am to try to become an author? Someone might just be in that defeating downward spiral of thinking that they're just not good enough. So that's my question for you. What sort of state is a person in when they first come to you? Are they in confusion and overwhelm, like we just talked about a minute ago? Are they overweight? What are those sort of results? And then the next thing you want to focus on is the success. Now, these are very closely related. As I said, there's a lot of overlap. But make a list of the problems. So before we were talking about the results, those are outcomes. Now we want to talk about the problems. So when I talk about, what state the person was in, like Miriam, you and I have something in common. We have dealt with perfectionism. That's a problem that I have successfully solved for myself, and now I'm helping other people do that as well. So, Crystal talked about reducing overwhelm. Maybe it's helping people get more creative in the kitchen by food prep. So think about the problems that you solve. What are the problems or the symptoms or the conditions that people are in before they come to you that you help to transform? And then just go into your memory bank, and for your homework this evening, I want you to write stories, like literally the before, the during, and the after. Like, okay, this person came to me and they were completely overwhelmed. Well, what did they look like at that state? Well, they were not sleeping, they were drinking too much red wine at night, they were yelling at their spouse, the kids were scared of them. That's how they were. And then that's the before. And then there's the during, which is what did you do to interact with them? Maybe it was 6 sessions of coaching, or it was a distant healing, or you put them on a particular hormone balancing regimen. Whatever it is, you talk about the middle. So write that as your homework tonight. And then you talk about the success. What did it look like in the after? So after they worked with you, what results? And yes, I'm a storyteller. I can't help it. It's just what I do, right? All right, so does this make sense? This RSVP thing is all about really getting clear about the stuff that you do that quite possibly only you can do, right? In your way. Yes, there are other branding experts out there, of course, but they don't deliver like I deliver, clearly, right? So I thought I would welcome the new folks who are just tuning in. If you're just tuning in and you're like, what is Andrea doing? If you're on Facebook or you're on YouTube, welcome. This is day 1 of our 6 days of deep dive business training. And in particular today, we are talking about how to define your brand identity and your unique selling proposition. And the reason this is important is because you want to stand out. You want to stand out from other people, and not in a show-off kind of way. You can still be humble and do this, but it's just giving people that clear distinction of why they should choose you or not. We're going to talk about this tomorrow. Tomorrow, our session is all about nailing your niche, as in defining your ideal customer. And one of the exercises we do in our personal branding bootcamp, which we were just talking about last night with our group, is you also need to identify who you don't want to work with. That is just as important as figuring out who you do. So once you go through these exercises, we're in the RSVP method right now. There's a worksheet, just look in the chat for the link. Coming up with all of these things that make you unique, that's really when you bring it to the forefront, when it's written on your website or it's on your LinkedIn profile or it's in your resume or your CV. People will get a sense for you and what makes you a better candidate over someone else. And yes, it can also repel or push away the people that you don't want to work with. All right, so I want to share another success story, because why not? This one is about my friend, Helena Philipson. She came to me, and this was what her website looked like before. I gotta go back a little bit. I gotta show you the before. So that's her. And one of the things that we did after going through this process was to take her website there, which is nice colors, but there's no life there. And as you can see, it's in Danish. And then she relaunched her website to look like this, because she could really tune into who she is, what she stands for, what her vibe is like. Now, I've worked with eating disorders and eating disorder professionals for years. And for people who've had eating disorders, you really have to connect with your coach. But you can see here, Helena has got her personality all over that website. And for those of you that know her, she's just a fun, loving person. So by really nailing the essence of who she is, that is what helped her to author her first book in English. She then wrote a book that we helped her publish. And then we were able to help her get into online summits as a special guest, and even became a co-host for a radio show that I did in America. And as you can see here, we took her to the TEDx stage. And I'll let you watch her TED Talk on your own. But when she first came and met me after seeing me speak on stage, she was just kind of like, yeah, I know I'm having this calling. I know I want to do more. I want to break out of just being in Denmark, but I don't exactly know what. Well, I took her through these exact same steps that you're going through. So that was just to give you a sense of the output. You're going to be able to use this to bring forth your magic. All right? All right, so I see that some of you are typing in. I'll read a few more of your comments. So Monica says, I help people move past self-doubt and the shame of their personal story to see their strengths and resilience. That is awesome, Monica. Shelley says, some of the results and success, I help people to attain greater self-awareness of the root cause traumas, beliefs, and habits that cause suffering. That is so clear. That is so clear, right? And this sounds like your philosophy, Miriam. No one can help anyone if the person doesn't decide to help themselves in the first place. Yes. All right. Awesome. So good. I'm glad that this is helpful. So we're going to get back into the next one, which is the V for value. All right, here we go. All right, so what do you do? Oh, that went too fast. What do you do or could you do that provides value? Value being something that you deliver that it would be worth paying for. So if you think about it from the opposite, like, what would it be worth to your client if you could get rid of their pain or their problem? What value would you put on that? So you could say that you're able to help people save money, like saving a certain amount per month on their prescription medication if they followed your plan. You could help people get off of their insulin if they followed your plan. Maybe people could make an additional, $1,000. So what would that tangible value be to the client? So if whatever pain or problem that you solve, if it were gone, what would it be worth? So Margareta, she has written that you could reduce anxiety and stress during pregnancy and birth. Okay, so what is that worth to them? I know that's kind of a hard thing to think of. You're like, well, I'm removing anxiety. But the reason that we need to go through this exercise is people don't want just facts. They want to have like an experience of, how is my life going to be different? What would it be worth to them if you didn't have anxiety, if you didn't have fear, if you didn't have overwhelm? And one of the other ways that you can do this is you can look at, what have they already spent? So what does anxiety cost them, or has it cost them? So we talk about this a lot with healers, especially the energy healers and all of these people who do these modalities that are different from conventional medicine. When someone comes in with pain or an autoimmune condition or allergies or something, nondescript, these invisible illnesses like fibromyalgia or chronic fatigue, typically a person like that has been to see multiple doctors. They've tried multiple medications, heat therapy, cold therapy, aqua therapy, movement, breath work, meditation. They've tried this coaching program, this type of massage. And I've had people add up the bills from all the different practitioners and all the magic pills and potions that they've tried. And unfortunately, most of it's out of their insurance plan, so they're paying out of pocket. And it is thousands. What would it be worth for someone to sleep better? So you think about it from the cost. If I'm not sleeping, what is it costing them? This is how you can arrive at value. What does it cost me? If I don't sleep well, what happens? Well, I'm irritable the next day. I don't get as much work done. I'm mean to my kids. I'm mean to my partner. I may not even go to work, which means I'm losing wages. Or if you're self-employed or an entrepreneur, you're losing money. So when you add up all of those costs, it's much easier for you to arrive at, oh, I see the value of that, right? So as Miriam is saying, the value, it implies it's going to help them set themselves free. Yes, absolutely. It's seeing, yes. So Alex says, I can help you save time and money while gaining health and time and freedom. Excellent, Alex, because once you've identified what it's costing them, it's much more easy to attract the kind of people who are going to be interested in your service. Hey, are you tired of spending so much time waiting for doctors or this, that, and the other, or buying products, go into this shop and that shop and that shop? Well, I can help you gain your health and time freedom, right? So all of these are good. You guys are writing some really great stuff, getting to the value section. I'm going to get some water here, refuel. Yes. Awesome. All right, so you guys are doing excellent. Now, what would you propose? It is up to you to actually propose. I don't mean get on one knee and give someone a ring. I mean to spell out what you want them to do. What do you want them to do as a next step? What is the promise? I can see that I have not changed the example there. Sorry that the example is not correct on this slide. But the proposal might be, listen, I propose that you work with me over this 3-month period so that we can take you from overwhelm to clearly, confidently creating a personal brand and launching your product. That is a proposal. So when you talk about a value proposition, this RSVP method is much easier for you to now say, oh, you know, the results that I can provide are this. I can successfully help you eliminate this problem. And that's worth, and you list all of the value. And then you can finally say, and now what I propose is this. And so Steve is asking, what would the value be for the listener as a speaker? Let's see here. Well, inspiration, well, you tell me, Steve. You've had people come out of seeing you, hearing your story. You should tell people what you've done. You know, she's done these amazing things like climbing Everest twice, surviving, you know, the 2015 earthquake and then going back. And when you share your story of how you yourself and now you're taking other people on these adventures, what does that do to the audience? What have you noticed happens? Because I know that as you inspire people, it's changing something inside of them. I think Miriam just posted something about when you walk your talk, when you show up, it shows people what's possible. So let's do the exercise again. What is the cost of not feeling inspired and motivated? What is the cost of staying in a mindset where you don't think you're good enough or it's too late to do anything different with your life? Because, I mean, motivational speakers are getting paid millions of dollars a year just to motivate people. And, you know, some of those motivational speakers are the kinds that yell at you and get in your face. Yes, I will go back to the slide in just a second. Is this making sense? Do you get what I'm saying about really recognizing that if you weren't there, what would they be getting? They would be stuck in the same situations. So that's what it means for you to start thinking about, oh, well, I'm just providing inspiration, but there is a value to that. So think of it from the opposite. What is the value of not? Right? All right, so when we think about the proposition, so proposing, it's up to you. My slides are on their own kind of thing here. Sorry, guys. Keynote is having its own kind of field party. Propose. All right, so Margareta, I would love to put your comment on, but I can't seem to do it. So I'll have to read it. You propose to help people overcome the fear of birth to go through pregnancy in a relaxed and calm way. Exactly. And then you need to follow that up with by using my services. So all the RS that you just entered, the results and the success, you have to bring that in. I'm proposing that you do that by using hypnobirthing or hiring me as your doula. Shireen says, see more ease, beauty, and superpowers in menstruation and menopause instead of self-disgust and dread about the decades. And yeah, that is priceless. But think about it, Shireen. What do women pay for when they're going through hot flashes and irritability and insomnia and vaginal dryness and all of that? Like, to get to a state of ease, there is a price. I know you're saying it's priceless, and that's true, but there is a price. And so when you start to have conversations with people, and I hope that you'll come to our Thursday class, because it's all about how to make sales offers. So you're going to take all the good work we do over the next 5 days, And then you're going to translate it into a conversational framework for sales, but it's never going to feel like icky sales. All right? From LSA says, if you didn't do work with you, you would stay in that rut. It's a mental prison. Yes. Very good. All right, so you guys have gotten the point. Monica says, I will help you see the power of your story and make a deeper, more profound connection with your family, peers, and clients. And Joanna says, I propose if you work with me, I will support you to find out what's wrong with your best friend, dog, cat, etc., and what we can do to help him or her. I love it. All right. Don't worry about typos. You're typing fast. You're on the go. So now what I want you to do is look back over the sheet of the R, S, V, and P and see if you can come up with just a few lines or a few words that would become your tagline or your slogan. I want you to come up with some slogans. Now, this is in your worksheet. I want you to become really clear at being able to delineate that for people. What could be your slogan if you were to come up with one? Miriam says, building truly healthy relationships. Right, so it could just be a few words. It doesn't even have to be like subject, verb, and, it can be just a statement. By learning to surrender, you'll be able to take back control of your life and manifest your very best life, free of suffering. Awesome. Awesome. And Raj says, you should work with me to help you get out of the state of mental overwhelm or physical overwhelm through guided self-healing. Awesome. And Margareta, you say you're struggling with this. You're not. You just haven't said the words out loud yet. So basically, you know that mothers go through a lot of anxiety and fear, especially if they're facing a hospital birth. And you know that childbirth could be this really magical experience for mom and baby and the entire family. And so if people work with you or take one of your hypnobirthing courses, mom is going to have much less anxiety and fear. She's going to have a better, more memorable, well, it'll always be memorable, but a positively memorable birth experience where mom and baby will bond. And what you're proposing is come to one of my birthing classes, or come to my hypnobirthing workshop, or hire me as your doula, and I will help you get to that state of ease and grace in your pregnancy. That's it. Lindia, what's up in the DC area? Your body is a temple. Absolutely. And Katrina, I like this one. Meet deeper healing. So these are great like taglines or brand slogans. Remember, it doesn't have to be a full sentence. Raj is asking, is it too vague? Let's see. In order to help you step into power and live the life you want to live. No, I think it's not too vague, because you're saying working with you will help you get out of the state of overwhelm through guided self-healing so that you can step into your power and live the life you want to live. It's a little long, but I think it's very clear. You're taking them from point A, which is overwhelm, through self-healing into your own power and living a life you want to live. So if you've been to my website in the last year, you'll see I used to have these 3 points: freedom, confidence, self-love. It's like these are the 3 things. So yours could be these 3 things: out of overwhelm, through self-healing, into your power, living a life you love.